So I am Tony Kelly, founder of CEO Red Card Gambling Support Project. I come from a lived experience background, and I'm just going to touch upon my story with you guys and also talk about what I'm doing with Red Card in Haringey Borough and also nationally. So I was 18 years old and I started my first bet with Dulwich Hamlet Football Club. That was my first bet. Didn't know where it was going to take me, and basically my gambling addiction escalated so much so that by the time I finished with my gambling addiction journey and started the recovery, I'd lost £500,000. But it all started really when I signed for Stoke City, so my background is professional football. And here I'm going to show a short video, if it plays. No. So forget that. Anyway, I hope there's no Liverpool supporters in the room, so forget that. Right, okay, so the impact of problem gambling, absolutely huge. And I know we've talked about it a lot today, it's been touched upon it, but that's what we've got to remember. We've got to remember the wider and the broader scale of gambling addiction. It's not just about losing money. So as you can see here, these are some of the impacts in my career, and if I just touch upon some of them. So in terms of career progression, for instance, I signed for Stoke City when I was 22 years old. Great, fortunate to achieve my boyhood dream. All the trappings that comes with being a professional footballer in the second division. But unfortunately, as time went on, as I said earlier, it escalates and escalates. And so I finished professional football at the age of 30, which is roughly about 6 or 7 years too young. And basically that was all to do with my sporadic form, my mental health issues, not turning up for training, going AWOL, etc. Because it has a massive impact on the mental health. And then you've got here families. Someone touched on it earlier in terms of affected others, and I think it's a huge topic when we talk about gambling addiction in general. Affected others, those that are impacted by someone's gambling. And I have 5 brothers and a sister, and I borrowed money off every single member of my family. So much so, my sister, God bless her, she's been amazing for me in terms of staying on the journey with me. But she actually had to take a loan out just so that I could save my mortgage and save the house. But even so she took that loan out, I still ended up getting the house repossessed because that's what gambling addiction does to you. It consumes you. And here we have crime. Yes, I'm ashamed to say I have committed crime. Unfortunately, I didn't get caught. But there is a member of our team which is out in the public domain, a member of the Red Card team, who went to the extreme of stealing £370,000 from his employer to feed his gambling addiction and went to prison for 3 years. And so that just shows you how extreme it can get and the depths of gambling addiction and where it takes you. Also, we've got broken relationships, another big one. We're going to touch upon the work that we've done with Red Card shortly, but as an example, we had a sixth form student that came to us after the workshop and was just saying to us that he's so pleased that he's seen the workshop today. And I asked him why, and he said because his mum and dad got divorced due to his dad's gambling. I'm going to touch upon that a bit more shortly, about not just about the individual young people who are gambling, but the environment they're in and their parents. There'll be thousands and thousands of parents up and down the country that are gambling and exposing their children to gambling. So, moving on. How bad can it get? As I said earlier, one of the Red Card team went to prison for 3 years. We built our team on lived experience. So there are some powerful stories from the Red Card team, and we feel that's really important to show people what it's like to walk in our shoes and what gambling addiction actually looks like and feels like, because we have to get to reality where we are today in terms of gambling addiction. And then you've got incarceration, as I said, but they're the most biggest one there really, and this is really important, is the fact that, and this is some of the feedback we got from the kids that we do at the workshops, and that is the fact that they are quite shocked to think that gambling addiction, you can actually lose your life. We actually have approximately 650 gambling-related deaths every year. And so when you think of it in terms of where it can take you, where we're now got to a stage where people are losing their lives, that's where it has to be a public health approach and a public health issue, because people are losing their lives on a daily basis. So that's where it can take you. So with Red Card, as I said, 2015, I remember my first book publication, Red Card, came out in 2015. Now, I was asked to do a talk to a business gala dinner, 250 people in Coventry. Never done a talk before, absolutely bricked it. And I thought, wow, shall I do this? So I thought, yeah, I'll do this. Now, the big thing that came out of that talk was I had women and men and other people coming up to me afterwards saying they find their dad's betting slips in the bin, etc. And it resonated with so many people that I realised that I'm not alone here. There are thousands and thousands of people like me. And that's when I decided to set up Red Card Gambling Support Project. We are all about education, awareness and prevention of gambling-related harms. We don't want to create another generation of problem gamblers. The work we've done, we've passed 10,000 young people now. We deliver our education awareness programme nationally for all the secondary schools around the country, and it's a big part of our work. And that's why I was pleased to connect with Haringey Council, and we are fortunate and privileged to be able to run the contract to deliver secondary schools in the Haringey Borough. I think we've delivered 3 out of the 14 so far, and we've got 11 more to do going up to July. Because we have to remember how important it is to educate from young, because if someone leaves school 16, 17 and 18, they will have their own decisions to make, whether they go on that gambling journey, but at least they will have been educated and they'll be aware of what prevention tools are out there, and they'll be aware of how serious gambling addiction is, and they'll be aware of what it actually looks like and where it can take you. So we also, as I said, the CBD training, that's for adults and professionals. There's a lot of gambling going on in the workplace. I think Public Health England last year said that was 15% of online gamblers are gambling in the workplace. And that was proven to us. We've done a delivery to Amy Construction, who are a very, very big construction company in the UK. That was in Runcorn to 45 staff and employees. And that's when we really saw, that they were quite open about it, the employees, in terms of gambling at break time, gambling on the way to work, gambling in the toilets. So we know there's a massive issue with gambling within the workplace, and that affects productivity, sickness, mental health, absenteeism, etc. So that's another part of the work that we do. Here, as you can see, red card on the right, that was a culmination of my, in terms of my recovery journey. Everybody recovers differently. There's not one size fits all. Mine was counselling, my Christian faith and my family support. So I got to a point where in 2021, red card, I bet you can win, as it says there, because that's how I feel in terms of where I've come from 2014 to now. It's a bet that I've won. I've beat the demons. I'm now debt-free, which is amazing to me. I've never been debt-free since I was 19 years old. So, yeah, that came out in May 2021. And as you can see, this is the work that we want to continue to do in educating young people all around the country. And any sport, we are obviously just giving. We are a CIC company, so we do rely on funding, etc. I think someone mentioned earlier about getting money from the industry. It's very debatable, very topical subject, etc. My opinion would be, if the industry are, for instance, going to fund certain projects, then who am I to say that if they're putting that money towards a good cause, towards a project, then fair enough. I know it's debatable. There's people out there that don't like taking money from the industry, but as an organisation, we have to remain sustainable. We want to run projects. We want to continue to educate. So, yeah, that's for another day, I suppose. So, thank you very much for listening. And remember, gambling addiction is real. Thank you.